The sun hasn't moved, or so it seems, caught in the stagnant dust motes of a room that feels like a museum of a life still being lived. You watch the light crawl across the floorboards, a slow-motion clock measuring nothing but the accumulation of silence. Outside, the world is a blurred rush of kinetic energy, but here, the air is heavy and still. It is a strange sensation, like standing on a train platform while the carriages blur past. Faces in the windows, a smear of intent and destination. You are not waiting for the next one. You are simply witnessing the departure of a moment that was supposed to include you. There is a specific frequency to the hum of a refrigerator in an empty kitchen at 4 in the afternoon. It fills the gaps where conversation used to be, a mechanical pulse that persists regardless of who is there to hear it. You notice the calendar on the wall is 3 days behind, a small lapse that feels like a massive tectonic shift. The ink is dry, the plans are ghosts, and the red plastic slider remains fixed on a Tuesday that has long since dissolved into the gray of the week. Time is not a river here. It is a rising tide in a locked room, silent and indifferent. The shadows of the trees outside have lengthened, stretching like thin fingers across the driveway. You remember when these branches were shorter, or perhaps you just remember a version of yourself that didn't notice their reach. There is a rustling in the hedges, a neighborhood dog, a passing car, sounds of a clockwork universe functioning with terrifying precision. You are an observer to your own life, a ghost haunting a chair that still bears the indents of your weight. The glass of water on the table has developed a ring of condensation, a tiny, evaporating evidence of a time that is already gone. You find a photograph in a drawer, one you don't remember taking, featuring people whose names are starting to soften at the edges. They are laughing at a joke that has no punchline anymore, caught in a permanent amber of relevance. Looking at it feels like reading a transmission from a dead star. The light reached you, but the source is extinguished. You touch the glossy paper and realize the texture of your own skin has changed more than the image has. The world in the frame is vibrant and demanding, while the room around you feels like it's being drained of color, one pixel at a time. A notifications light blinks on a phone across the room, a rhythmic blue heartbeat in the dimness. It signals a world of instant response, of rapid-fire updates and the relentless now. You watch it pulse for several minutes without moving to check it. Each blink is a reminder that the digital stream is flowing, carving new canyons in the social landscape, while you remain anchored to the carpet. The urgency of the blink feels offensive, a desperate plea for attention from a reality that doesn't actually need your participation to continue its frantic expansion. In the grocery store, the brands have changed their faces. The packaging is sleeker, the fonts are sharper, and the products you once relied on have been relegated to the bottom shelves or vanished entirely. You stand in the aisle, gripped by a sudden, irrational disorientation. It's not that you don't know where you are. It's that the where has evolved beneath your feet. People navigate the space with a frantic, telepathic ease, weaving through the aisles, while you struggle to decode the new geometry of a simple errand. The air tastes of cold ozone and cardboard. The sound of construction in the distance is a constant, low-frequency roar. They are building something new or tearing something old down, and the distinction has become irrelevant. The skyline is a serrated edge of cranes and scaffolding, shifting its shape while you sleep. You look out the window and realize a landmark you once used for navigation is simply gone, replaced by a glass-faced monolith reflecting a sky you don't recognize. The architecture of your memory is being overwritten by the architecture of progress, leaving you with a map that no longer corresponds to the terrain. There is a pile of mail on the entryway table, a mix of utility bills and advertisements for services you will never use. Each envelope is a timestamp, a physical manifestation of the days stacking up like cordwood. You look at the postmarks and calculate the distance between the day they were sent and the day they arrived. It's a narrow gap, yet it feels like an era. Paper is cold to the touch. You realize that your name is just a string of characters on a mailing list, a data point in a system that assumes you are still moving at the same velocity as everyone else. Sunset doesn't arrive with a bang. It arrives as a slow surrender of the horizon. The sky turns a bruised purple, then a deep, hollow indigo. You sit in the dark for a long time before thinking to turn on a light. The transition from day to night happened without your permission. A seamless handoff that left you behind in the twilight. You watch the streetlights flicker to life, one by one, a sequence of artificial suns illuminating a sidewalk where no one is walking. The stillness is not peaceful. It is expectant, as if the house itself is waiting for you to catch up. You hear a song through a thin wall or from a passing car, a melody that was once the background noise of a specific summer. Now, it sounds like an artifact. The rhythm is slightly too fast, the production too bright, a relic of an energy you can no longer summon. It triggers a visceral memory of a feeling you can't quite name, a sense of being in the moment rather than watching it from the shore. The music fades, leaving a silence that feels twice as heavy as before. You are left with the vibration of a chord that has already been resolved. The garden has grown thick and unruly in the corners where you stopped looking. Vines have climbed the fence, their grip tightening on the wood with a slow, vegetable persistence. It is a quiet invasion of nature into a space you thought was controlled. You see a bird's nest in the eaves, built and abandoned in a season you didn't notice passing. The cycle of birth and decay is happening inches from your window. A frantic, silent struggle for survival that makes your own stillness feel like a form of fossilization. Autumn. The dirt is damp and smells of ancient things. You wake up, and the weather has turned. The heat of the previous week has been replaced by a sharp, metallic chill that smells of coming rain. You didn't see the clouds gather. You only saw the result. The transition was absolute. You look at your clothes and realize they are wrong for the day. A minor tactical error that underscores a larger strategic drift. The world has shifted its mood, and you are still dressed for a season that ended while you were looking the other way. The wind rattles the window pane, testing the seals of your isolation. There is a mirror in the hallway that catches the light at a certain angle. For a split second, you catch a glimpse of a stranger's profile before you realize it is your own. The architecture of your face has settled into new lines, a topography of time you don't remember authorizing. You trace the path of a wrinkle, like a path on a map of an unknown country. It's not about aging, specifically. It's about the realization that the you inside the head is not the you being presented to the world. The vessel is changing, while the passenger remains stubbornly the same. In the park, children run with a kinetic desperation, their voices high and dissonant against the low hum of the city. You watch them and realize you no longer understand the rules of their games. Their movements are chaotic and filled with a future you won't inhabit. You are a fixed point in their landscape, as stationary as a bench or a tree. A ball rolls toward your feet and stops. You pick it up, feeling the scuffed plastic and the warmth of the sun on its surface. And for a moment, The connection to the flow is physical and terrifyingly brief. The screen of the laptop is a void of white space. The cursor blinks with a steady, judgmental rhythm. "I am waiting," it seems to say. The world is waiting. But the words are slow to come, or perhaps they have already been said by someone else. Somewhere else. In a language you haven't learned yet. You watch the clock in the corner of the screen jump from 11:14 to 11:15. A digital guillotine dropping on another minute. The infinite potential of the blank page has become a desert, and you are wandering it without a compass, looking for a way back into the conversation. The evening news is a kaleidoscope of crises and triumphs, a rapid-fire sequence of images from places you will never go. The anchors speak with a rehearsed urgency, their voices modulated for maximum impact. You watch the crawl of text at the bottom of the screen. Stocks, weather, sports, tragedy. A relentless stream of data that suggests a world in constant, violent motion. It feels like watching a film in a language you used to be fluent in. But now you only recognize the nouns. The why of it all has slipped through your fingers like dry sand. You find an old coat in the back of the closet. In the pocket is a crumpled receipt from a coffee shop that no longer exists, dated 5 years ago. The ink is fading, but the date is clear. You remember the day. The specific cold of the air. The person you were meeting. The things you thought were important then. It feels like a dispatch from a different civilization. You fold the paper back up and put it in the pocket, closing the door on the ghost. The closet smells of cedar and forgotten intentions, a small dark vacuum at the heart of the house. The stars are visible tonight, though blurred by the city's orange glow. You look up and realize the light you see is thousands of years old, a delay that makes your own sense of being behind feel insignificant, and yet strangely amplified. The universe is moving at speeds that defy comprehension. Planets spinning, galaxies colliding, all of it silent and indifferent to the fact that you haven't left your porch in 3 hours. The scale of the movement is too large to grasp, leaving you anchored to the small, cold reality of your own heavy limbs and shallow breath.